Please welcome Mesa Chamber of Commerce Board Chair, Renee Castillo.
Morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2018 Mayor's State of the City Breakfast. I'm Renee Castillo, Chair of the Mesa Chamber of Commerce. At the Chamber, we strive to provide our members with the most effective programs and networking opportunities that lead to success and growth of their businesses. I see a lot of new faces in the audience this morning, and I hope you are all able to meet someone new during our breakfast. I'd like to welcome our elected officials and city leaders from across the state of Arizona. Their names are listed here on the screens, so please hold your applause until they are all displayed. We'd like to thank Mesa council members and former Mesa mayors, other mayors and vice mayors, other Valley Council members from Gilbert and Chandler, state legislators, Maricopa County supervisors, Mesa Public Schools Governing Board, Gilbert Public Schools Governing Board, Central Arizona Project Board members, Congressman Biggs' office, Senator Flake's office, Senator McCain's office, City Manager Chris Brady. We also have a dedicated group of sponsors today. I am representing both the Mesa Chamber and my employer, SRP, who is this year's title sponsor. There are more than 30 sponsors, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you, but in the interest of time, you are listed here. Thank you so much for your continued support of Mesa Chamber of Commerce and the Mayor's State of the City Breakfast. Now let's have some fun. Last year, the Mesa Chamber member, Southwest Airlines, was celebrating their 35th anniversary, and they gave us 35 $100 gift certificates. So it only makes sense that this year they gave us 36. So in order to win, please be sure to put your business card on the registration table as you leave the event. And I'd like to thank Southwest Airlines. And lastly, in front of you is a Mesa trivia card. Grab a pen, they should be on your tables, and look for the answers during the opening video. Are you ready? Let's do it.
We are just wrapping up our visit to MD Helicopter. MD is one of the great companies in Mesa. They just received a $1.4 billion contract with the Army to produce helicopters. They've agreed to give us a ride to the State of the City, so hey, let's go.
We are taking off and flying over the Falcon Field District right now. The Falcon District is a really exciting part of Mesa right now. Over the last several months, I've been to many groundbreakings for large commercial projects out here. We are now headed south towards the Gateway Airport area. You've heard a lot about Gateway. Lots of big economic development projects, lots of headlines being made in the Gateway Airport area right now. So here in the Gateway area, you see Eastmark. It's one of the fastest growing communities in the state and in the country, in fact. They're building houses as fast as they possibly can to accommodate the thousands of people that are moving to this part of Mesa. So here we are over Greenfield Park. We just did a major renovation at Greenfield Park, added a huge fishing lake, and this is a wonderful park and amenity for the folks that live in this part of Mesa. Here we are over downtown Mesa and Main Street. You can see that the extension of the light rail continues to take place from Mesa Drive to Gilbert Road. That'll open in 2019 with a large park and ride there at Gilbert and Main. We've made it now to West Mesa and the Fiesta District. There continues to be just a lot of activity out here. Lots of companies are located here with lots of jobs coming to West Mesa and the Fiesta District. Here we are at Riverview, and there's a great look at the new stadium connector path. Riverview is great for lots of reasons. Obviously during spring training, it's very, very active, but also lots of great shopping, dining, entertainment here in the Riverview area. Here we are, we just landed at the Mesa Convention Center. Thanks again to MD for the great ride. State of the City 2018. Hey, let's do this.
Mayor, we gotta get you mic'd up.
Oh dear. Lily, this mic isn't hot, is it?
Yes, it's a hot mic.
Good to know. Only an idiot would say something with a hot mic.
Let's go.
He's toast.
And now, please welcome Mesa Mayor John Giles and the Mesa City Council.
Oh, hey, you don't have to get up for us. Hey, Dale, good to see you. Thank you. Hi, thank you. Hey, Gilbert's in the house, right there. How are you? Hi, thank you. Thank you for being here. Hey, how's it going? Brockney, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Jack, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, is this on? Can you guys hear me? Mic check? Check, check, check. Okay, sorry. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here, and thank you for coming to the 2018 State of the City for the City of Mesa. This is a great turnout. We really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the little helicopter tour that we took on our way to the event today. That really is a great perspective of, and very impressive way to view our community and see all the great things that are going on in our city. Thanks again to MD Helicopter for the ride to work this morning. That was great. Also, thank you to the Mesa Chamber of Commerce for putting this event together. You can see, thank you very much. Sally and her crowd has done a great job. Let me do a quick plug for the Mesa Chamber. Back in 1995, I started a business in the city of Mesa, and the first check I think I wrote was to the Mesa Chamber of Commerce, and that was money very well spent. So if you're a business person in the city of Mesa, I encourage you to be active in the chamber, and I promise you, you'll find that to be a great investment. Also, I want to say thank you to my team of council members that came with me today. I think anybody who knows them knows that this is a very talented group of people. They're very hardworking, and we're very lucky in the city of Mesa to have a strong city council. So thank you to my partners on the council. I do have to say, after watching that video, it does seem strange to me, and tell me if you agree with me or not. I've never seen David Luna and Carlos Santana in the same room at the same time. Now, I'm not drawing any conclusions. I'm just saying, has anybody ever seen David Luna and Carlos Santana in the same room at the same time? All right, we'll see where that goes. Also, I just want to say thank you to the great employees at the City of Mesa. Chris Brady and everyone who works for the City of Mesa are amazing people. They do a great job. We run a very frugal, very efficient operation at the City of Mesa, so thank you to everyone at the City of Mesa who does such a great job. Also, thank you. Thanks to the dignitaries that are here. I know we've got some heavy hitters that have honored us with their presence. I know Senator Flake was here just a moment ago. He was right behind me. I don't know if he got lost between here and coming in, but there might be a government shutdown, I'm not sure. But if you see Senator Flake, please thank him for coming as well. And some of the other mayors and elected officials that are here, thank you very much. And frankly, thanks to you. You had to wake up really early this morning. I was ticked off when I woke up this early this morning that I had to come. So I really appreciate you guys for being so diligent about waking up and getting here. We have, I think, over 700 people here today. So that's a great indication that we have a strong community. We have a strong business community in Mesa that cares a lot about our city and wants to know more about what's going on. Well, this is the mayor's opportunity to update you on the state of our city. And I'm very pleased to report to you that the state of our city has never been stronger. I was born and raised in Mesa, and we kind of have this tradition of being kind of humble. In fact, we're kind of proud of our humility in the city of Mesa, frankly. And so sometimes I have to be reminded that Mesa is actually a really big deal. And the more that I travel or represent our city and other parts of the country, I'm always quite impressed with how impressed people are with us. So occasionally, once a year or so, we put our humility on the shelf and we brag about how really cool we are. And today is one of those days. Mesa is continuing to do very well and to grow at a very fast clip. Just a few months ago, the last census figures came out, and Mesa moved from the 38th largest city in the United States to the 36th largest city in the United States. The actual number was 485,000 people. So what I tell people is that whenever the Cubs are playing a game, we're 500,000 people in the city of Mesa. Actually, a little bit more than that. So we are a really big deal again. And again, Mesa's economy continues to grow. Last year, we added over 2,000 jobs to the local economy, and there are many, many more on their way here. The good folks at Boeing announced that just this next year, they'll be adding 900 jobs alone out at their facility in East Mesa. And it's not just new jobs that are coming to Mesa. We've had a lot of commercial and business investment in our city. Last year, over $500 million in capital was invested by the business community in our city, and the sales tax revenue continues to grow. So the fiscal report on our city is that we're doing very well, and we have the capital that we need to continue to provide a very high quality of life for our residents. Growth that's occurring is a good sign. It shows that, again, we are an attractive community and that people want to be here and that we're healthy. But I've always felt that getting better is more important than getting bigger. And that's the philosophy that we'd like to pursue in our city. Of course, with growth comes challenges, and we are not immune to that. We have our share of challenges in the city. The growth certainly has put some pressure and some stress on our ability to respond to our public safety needs. So we're mindful of that. Mesa, frankly, does need more police officers. We need more firefighters. We need more police stations, more fire stations. Those types of large investments are going to require voter approval. So you will see us over the next few months having an active discussion about that so that we can continue to provide a very safe community for the residents in Mesa. Also, a problem common to large cities, particularly over the last couple of years, big cities in the western United States have seen an increase in homelessness. And we are not immune to that problem either. In response to that, several months ago, we asked the human service agencies in Mesa, led by the Mesa United Way, to help us form a strategic plan to focus our government and philanthropic resources on our most vulnerable residents. I'm very pleased to say that that plan is coming together and that we will be incorporating it into our budget this next fiscal year. Another area that we hope to make progress on as a community is to strengthen the diversity and inclusiveness of our community. I hope that as you walked in today, you saw in the lobby the One Mesa Pledge banner. Please go online and look that up, and I'd hope that you would add the name of you and your business to that pledge. Again, that's for us to commit to be better at acknowledging the importance of diversity and inclusiveness in our community. To that end, very recently I sent a letter to our legislative leadership encouraging them on the state level to do what they can to enact laws so that all of our citizens are protected in Mesa. And I look forward to continuing to work with the legislature on these and other challenges throughout the year. I think if you've been to this breakfast in the past, a common theme that you may be familiar with is this logo for Next Mesa. Next Mesa is my way of suggesting to people that we ought not to be satisfied with the level that we're on now, that one flat-topped mountain that sits in front of the Mesa logo, but rather we want to aspire to get better as a community. We want to go from one level to the next. Last year, as I tried to explain that, what I did was I crammed all of the good things that were happening in Mesa into one speech, literally. It was probably it was tiring for you, and I'm sure it was tiring for me as well. The good news, bad news is that this year, frankly, things have continued to get good, and it's just literally impossible during the course of one speech to talk about all of the things that are going on in our community. So instead, what we're going to do is I'll share with you 3 or 4 stories that I think are good examples of how, as a community, we are responding to this challenge to get from one level to the next. Now, the first story I'm going to share with you, you would think is probably something that shows how strong and robust our economy is. But that's not what I'm going to do. Instead, I'd like to share with you a story that shows that Mesa is a city that really knows how to have fun. Because I think as a community, for us to continue to be strong and healthy, frankly, we need to focus on being a place with high quality of life. If we do that, other things will follow. I'm committed to the idea that Mesa needs to be a great place to be a kid. As I've become the mayor, and maybe more significantly as I've become a grandpa, I've been reminded of how important and popular and cool our city parks are, specifically including our playgrounds. We are privileged in our city. Back in 2012, we passed a great park bond, and that's been the source of some revenue that we've been able to use to really improve our parks in the city of Mesa. After that park bond was passed, we started with Riverview Park. Riverview, I think, is one of the most popular parks in the state of Arizona. But every time I go there, I have, without exception, see kids on the Tower of Fun, is my new word for that. And we've added, in addition to Riverview, we've added a ton of other innovative parks throughout the city. Let me highlight just a couple of them for you. Desert Trails. If you are a mountain biker or you know someone who's a mountain biker, you have spent a lot of time at this park. It really is, much like Riverview, a regional park that attracts people from all over the state. It absolutely is one of the best mountain bike parks in the state. In addition to that, we have Haas Trail and a lot of other trails around the city that make Mesa, I think, really a mecca for mountain bikers. This is a picture of the Desert Arroyo Park. It's actually maybe better described as an outdoor classroom. It sits adjacent to one of our elementary schools. It's a great place for kids and adults alike to come and learn more and experience the Sonoran Desert. Another great park that came online this year is the Dobson Ranch Park. Now, this park is neat because a lot of the amenities that are built into this park are specifically there to help children with disabilities to be able to experience the park and have a great time. So we're very proud of that. In addition to these great new parks, we've also added a bunch of new bike trails and paths. These have been very, very popular. And to me, this is one of the great reasons to live in Mesa, Arizona. If you're not experiencing the pedestrian and bike paths, you're really missing out on a great opportunity. So lace up your running shoes or pull the bike out of the garage, do what you need to, and I encourage you to have some firsthand experience with our bike and paths. Another part of Mesa that I'm really proud of is our aquatics program. This is something that my family's really enjoyed. This is for everyone in the family. We have master swimming and age group swimming and synchronized swimming and diving. It's really, I'm very proud of the facilities that we have. And I have to tell you, the top 2 or 3 swimming pools in the state are located in the city of Mesa. We're very proud of them. Part of the recently approved park bond was the brand new swimming pool at Mesa High that includes this really cool lazy river. In addition to the swimming facilities, we were able to remodel Greenfield Park. There's a great picture of Greenfield Park. This is a one-of-a-kind urban fishing spot. I think I see Mayor Finter and his grandkids sitting right there on the bank. Mayor Finter was a great advocate for this. And at the conclusion of this park bond, what we've done with our last wad of money is we capped it off with some great improvements at a park that has been a favorite of mine my whole life called Pioneer Park. If you don't mind, we're going to show a quick video that explains what's new at Pioneer Park.
One of the cool things about putting a new, unique, exciting, adventurous playground in a community like this is that it was an existing community.
You know, the kids, I think the only time they get upset when they're here is when it's time to leave.
The immediate thing that we noticed was the trees kind of gravitated toward those as being part of the park's identity. what all the different things that kids do in playing with trees that are fun. Some of it's obviously the actual structures of actually climbing in something that's like a tree, but also being under the canopy of trees and running through a forest of trees. We wanted to capture that movement, and it's more expansive than just one tree. Wanted this all to feel like a play area, for there to be program and play elements and things for people to do all along this walkway.
There's a lot of families that come here, and it has turned into a great gathering space. Every time we come, we run into somebody that we know.
There was an immediate sort of buy-in and investment. Even from the grand opening on, we heard people talking about it like our park is back, you know, and it's so great to bring our kids back to the park I played in when I was a kid.
I remember the first time we ever came to Mesa, we came to this park. We would come here when I was in high school, and now that it's been renovated, yeah, we come here all the time. I mean, we're here at least once or twice every weekend.
Rather than just look at it from afar and think it looks cool or something like that, I really want people to think that that's a fun place, and that's what gets people coming back over and over and over again.
Thanks. I love Pioneer Park, and to me it's a great reflection of our priorities as a community and where we choose to spend our resources. Pioneer Park has been kind of the central park in downtown Mesa for generations, including my generations. I'm particularly excited we were able to restore the old train that's in downtown, that's in Pioneer Park. It's been a lot of fun to see that come back to life. I've enjoyed taking my grandkids to Pioneer Park. Here's a shot of 4 of my 6 grandkids. Little Annie on the right, I remember when we took her to the park, I'll always remember what she said. She looked at the park, kind of took it in, and she said, quote, "I can't believe my eyes." I thought that was pretty profound. And then shortly after that, she said, "I feel like I'm at Disneyland." Now that was significant to me because I hate to go to Disneyland. I hate to take kids to Disneyland. So if I can check that box by driving to Pioneer Park, that's a really big deal for me. I'm sorry if I've offended any Disney files in the audience. Well, the bad news is that our park bond money has now come to an end. But the good news is that we've already started the next chapter in our story of Mesa's Fun. Last year at this breakfast, you may recall that I talked about a new community engagement initiative called Imagine Mesa. Community engagement initiative is a fancy way of saying we're going to talk to people, and we're going to ask them what they like, what they want, how we're doing as a community. Well, I'm delighted to tell you that this community engagement project called Imagine Mesa was a huge success. Utilizing the power of digital forums and social media, we engaged in one of the largest audiences in our city's history. That means we used social media for something that was actually productive for a change. Over the course of this campaign, we interacted with 67,000 folks, came and visited the site. We had over 50 in-person city events where people came and gave us some live interaction. As a result of that, we were able to generate from the people of Mesa 465 different ideas. These were everything from how to improve our bulk pickup to a new youth and amateur sports complex. We also formed the Imagine Mesa Advisory Board. It's a great group of Mesa residents that came together to review those ideas and to make recommendations to present to the City Council, and that happened last December. We are now in the process of vetting those projects to determine which projects ought to be considered for further funding. Going through this process gave us a great chance to listen to and be responsive to our residents. And it continues our great city's tradition of providing unique and amazing amenities. I have to tell you, on a personal level, I'm really excited about a lot of the ideas that came up out of Imagine Mesa, and I'm looking forward to what comes next in the story of Mesa having fun. Moving on to another great story that has been decades in the making, but has seen some very exciting recent developments, is taking place in the Gateway area. You may have seen the introduction to Gateway that we gave you on the helicopter ride in. If you don't mind, I'll share just a little personal history about Gateway. I had the privilege of serving on our city council back in the 1990s when the United States Air Force handed the keys to Williams Air Force Base to the city of Mesa. I remember back at the time, many of us felt like the dog that had caught the car. we didn't really know what we were going to do with this place. It was quite a challenge, and it required a lot of faith to think that this was at some point going to pay dividends for our city. Well, I'm happy to say that over the last 20 years, city managers and councils and mayors have done a great job of sticking to the development plan and protecting the airport and making substantial investments in it. As a result of the investments in the airport and the infrastructure out there, things have really come along well. Now, those investments were not easy, and at the time, I remember, there was a lot of criticism for why are you throwing money out in the desert at this former Air Force base. So it was not without controversy. But in hindsight today, it's clear to see the wisdom of those investments and that investment has paid off for our community in a big way. I love going to the Gateway Airport now because of the booming economic engine that it's become. We are attracting a lot of world-class companies, a lot of names that you're familiar with, like Apple and Cessna, Textron Aviation, DuPont Fabros, Bridgestone, the ASU Polytechnic campus, and many more. And because of all the high-quality jobs that are so plentiful in that part of our community, we are also experiencing a very explosive housing growth in that part of Mesa as well. Great master plan communities like Eastmark, you owe me another $1, and Cadence are popping out of the desert in Southeast Mesa. I saw Mayor Stanton here a moment ago. I'm sorry to tell you, Greg, that the last year Mesa issued just a fraction less building permits than Phoenix because of all the explosive housing growth that's going on in that part of Mesa. So in addition, you're welcome. So in addition to all the residential growth that's out there, we're very excited with the growth that's occurring at the Phoenix Mesa Gateway Airport. It continues to break its own records. Last year, we had 1.4 million commercial airline passengers went through Gateway Airport. And as good as things are going out there, I'm here to tell you that really we're just at the beginning of the great story that's going on in that part of Mesa. There's a big announcement that you heard about just a few weeks ago out there, and let me give you a little bit of background on it. About 2 years ago, I was at an event, sitting in an event almost identical to this one. It was the Arizona League of Cities and Town Convention. And David Rousseau, the great board chair of Salt River Project, found me and he said, I have to introduce you to somebody because I've been thinking about something. You have an airport in Mesa that has the potential for additional development. I need to introduce you to my friend Marco Lopez. He has great experience with U.S. Customs and has this great idea of a pilot program where you pre-clear cargo in the United States with Mexican customs officials, and then it can be flown into Mexico. Well, that was a really great idea, and as a result of that introduction, thank you very much, Salt River Project, very recently, a couple of months ago, the Gateway Board signed a deal with a company called Skybridge, Arizona, to develop 360 acres of currently vacant airport land adjacent to the runway. Again, this deal made national and international headlines, and it's important for Mesa and for our region in many ways. As a result of this project, Mesa, Arizona is going to become an international hub for e-commerce. What does that mean? Well, let's think for a minute about how do we shop. I'll tell you how I shop. It's usually late at night. I'm wearing my pajamas, hopefully. I'm sitting in front of a computer, and the next day, somebody knocks on my door and hands me a cardboard box with what I bought. That's the way that I think we all like to shop nowadays. Well, the growing middle class in Mexico and Central and South America is anxious to participate in that economy, but they're stymied right now because of the problems with customs getting in and out of the country. What this deal, as a part of this deal, we recently signed an agreement. The United States Customs and Mexican Customs signed an agreement, and the only airport that's allowed to participate in this program right now is the Phoenix Mesa Gateway Airport. So you're going to see cargo cleared at that airport that then can fly like a domestic flight to any one of over 200 airports in Mexico. That's a really big deal, and it's going to be great for our local economy and particularly for Mesa. Skybridge, thank you. I, Mexico is obviously a tremendous trading partner with the state and with Mesa. I'd like to especially point out Vice Mayor Luna, who's been very passionate about cultivating our increased trade efforts with Mexico. This deal of Skybridge is going to bring millions of dollars of private investment and thousands of new jobs to the area, which again will be a great win for everybody in this room. So thanks again to David Rousseau and Marco Lopez for helping us to put this deal together. Thank you. I'd like to now transition from one great economic powerhouse that we have in our community out in Gateway to another one and talk a little bit about downtown Mesa. Back in the day, downtown Mesa was the East Valley's financial and retail center. I kind of grew up in downtown Mesa. I don't think I'm in this picture, but I might be. For those of you that have been around Mesa for a while, you remember what an exciting place downtown Mesa used to be back in the day. It's fun to look at old photos and see the streets packed to the brim with people typically wearing their Sunday's best. Well, over the last few decades, with the advent of shopping malls and freeways and the internet, downtown Mesa lost a little bit of its shine. Reflecting again on my city council service from 20 years ago, I remember sitting in the city office building looking down at Main Street, and there was a lame dog that slowly limped across Main Street from one side to the other, absolutely no threat of being hit by a car. And I remember at the time thinking, this is pathetic. What can we do to try to resurrect this part of town? Well, I couldn't be more excited to tell you that downtown is back, and it's back in a very, very big way. It's now a thriving entrepreneurial scene. It's anchored by organizations like HeatSink Labs and the city's own business accelerator Launch Point, whose members are with us this morning. Thank you very much. It's also the home for some great educational institutions like Benedictine University, Mesa Community College, and NAU. So we have a very strong and substantial education presence in our downtown. It's home to a lot of really wonderful community events like Second Friday, the Arizona Celebration of Freedom, Merry Main Street, a favorite of mine, Dia de los Muertos, and many other festivals. So more often than not, on the weekends, you'll see wall-to-wall people in downtown Mesa now. We have new residences that are coming online, a world-class light rail system, lots of new businesses and entertainment. I couldn't be more proud of the Mesa Arts Center. Every time I walk into that building, I'm reminded that the city of Mesa is a quality place and that we do a great job of building things. This past year, over a dozen properties in the downtown area have changed hands, and there's some really great plans that are in the making. I'd like to introduce you to one of the great new businesses that's come to downtown Mesa. Again, it's very unique, and I think you're going to want to add it to your growing list of downtown favorites. Please look at the screen.
After being wounded, and then I was kind of in a mix of a lot of different places, and so for me to reach out was difficult. I joined the Marine Corps in 2009. One of the prisons we were tearing down, I hit an IED. Decided to go back to work. A couple days later, I hit a second IED, a 250-pounder. I got medevac back to Camp Bastion, where I spent 2 weeks in a concussion ward.
He came back from Afghanistan and was wounded. His brain doctor had told him a few times, like, he needed to find a therapeutic hobby.
The cider making process was very therapeutic for me. It gave me something that, many nights it's hours of working on something, and when it comes out on the other end good, then obviously it makes you feel good.
There's a lot of veterans who end up in the homeless community or just living in poverty. Being where our location is, we see a lot of that. And so just being good neighbors to those people, hopefully give them a little bit of hope that when you come out of being in the military and maybe you can't go back to your job, just like Jason, that that's not the end. There's opportunity. Hopefully we can even help be a part of that opportunity.
Cider Corps is the only full-functioning cidery and tap room in Arizona right now. Currently, we're in about 50 different restaurants, bars, breweries, anywhere from Queen Creek to Surprise, Flagstaff, Tucson,
You see a lot of cities that are starting to kind of look similar, and Mesa has like the opportunity to really become what we've been told that it historically was, which is it was the place where people were going because it was the different city. I think our hope is that there's more opportunity for people like us. We would bring a different element of culture to the downtown. It's been exciting to see that there's spots like that that are already building up. We just hope for more.
Cider Core is a great story, and it's a perfect fit for our downtown because there's a very compelling personal story about the owners of the business, but it's also a great fit for our downtown business community because it is unique. It's not something you see anywhere else. It's also a very cool use of a historic building at the corner of Main and Robeson in downtown Mesa. So again, I'm just very proud of our downtown. It's a very authentic character, and when we have complemented it now with great infrastructure, we've really set the stage for what can be something really special and a thriving urban core for our city. To further capitalize on the potential that we have for downtown, a few weeks ago, we invited the world-renowned Brookings Institution to come to downtown Mesa to spend some time, to kick the tires, to talk to people, and then to give us some advice on what we could do to take better advantage of the assets we have here. At the conclusion of that trip, they put on what I thought was a very enlightening symposium. And the conclusions that they presented to our community is that downtown Mesa has all of the makings for what they call an innovation district. An innovation district. Now, what an innovation district is, it's a part of a regenerating urban core that has elements like gathering places, investments in transit and housing, entrepreneurship, business, and education. The more I got into learning about these types of neighborhoods and communities, it just seemed to me so obvious that they were describing downtown Mesa. So they gave us some advice, and there's a few things that we have to do, a couple of things we have to do to reach our potential downtown. The first is that we need to continue to build new relationships with anchor businesses and research institutions. These anchor businesses and research institutions are what is going to be magnets that will create and attract other businesses to come to our downtown. The second thing that we need to do is we need to put into place an advisory board that is going to help us to guide the future of the Innovation District. Now, I'm pleased to tell you that later this month, our City Council will be doing just that. We'll be considering making progress on both of those items. But we don't have to wait until later this month for good news. Since we held this event a couple of weeks ago, we've been inundated with interest from businesses and organizations that want to be a part of the Downtown Innovation District. I'm pleased to tell you that organizations like ASU, NAU, MCC, and Boeing, to name just a few, have indicated that they have interest and they're willing to be involved and help contribute to the success of a downtown innovation district. In addition to that, I'm very pleased to announce that just last night at our Mesa City Council meeting, our council voted to approve a deal for Cahoots to join LaunchPoint, HeatSink Labs, and Venue as anchors in our new innovation district. If you're not familiar with Cahoots, thank you. Cahoots is great. Cahoots is the #2 co-working space in the United States. So this is a really big deal to have them in downtown Mesa. They've facilitated the growth of more than 1,000 different companies and helped to incubate well-known companies like Uber, Heckler Design, and Revolution Parts. They're going to be located in a wonderful new development called The Grid. And this is the Grid in and of itself is a great announcement. It is a $60 million residential office and restaurant project that's being developed by Palladium Enterprises. It's going to be right on Main Street next to Benedictine University. The collaboration that's going to take place there with Venue is going to allow the Venue students access to mentors, internships, and entrepreneurial instruction and events. So we're very, very excited. I'd like to recognize a few of the people that were involved in this great project and that made this happen. Jenny Poon from Cahoots is here. Jenny, would you mind standing and waving? Along with Odine Domingo. I see Jenny. Thank you. So Jenny and Odine Domingo, along with the developers Tony Wall and Karen Taylor Robeson, thank you very much for bringing this great project to our downtown. I can't tell you what a big deal that is. We're going to have hundreds and thousands of really sharp, energetic business people getting on and off the light rail at Mesa Drive, and their businesses are going to flourish in our downtown. So as you can see, downtown Mesa is well on its way to being a diverse, innovative, economically strong urban hub of our very large city. I'm convinced that we are well past the tipping point in downtown, and there are other developers, many of whom are in this room, thank you very much, that are now lining up to do wonderful projects in our downtown. I have one more story to share with you before I let you get back to work, and that's updating you on our kindergarten readiness program in the city of Mesa. You may recall that we've talked about this before. Dr. Cowan first brought this to my attention a couple of years ago, and I need to express my appreciation to Dr. Cowan. Dr. Cowan, are you here? Dr. Cowan, I know he's here. Can you stand, Mike? There you are. Hi, thank you. Dr. Cowan is, I don't want to embarrass him, but I want to embarrass him. Dr. Cowan is finally graduating from school. He is retiring from Mesa Public Schools, and I want to make sure that he knows how much we have appreciated really a long and distinguished career and all the dedication. There are many lives that have been blessed. A lot of the children of Mesa, Arizona have been very well served by Dr. Cowan at the helm of that great institution. So Dr. Cowan, thank you for your great career. In addition to Mesa Public Schools, also in the city of Mesa, we have other great K-12 districts. We have Gilbert Public Schools, Higley Public Schools, and Queen Creek Public Schools. I'm excited that Shane McCord from Gilbert Schools and Dr. Perry Barry from Queen Creek Schools are also with us today. Thank you for being here. As you know, our community and our state faces some challenges when it comes to K-12 funding. As a result of that, there is no money, no state funding for pre-K. But in the city of Mesa, we have a dramatic need for additional pre-K education. This is something that we learned a couple of years ago when we formed a great citizen panel that studied the problem and brought to our attention that this is a serious issue that we have to deal with. We can't afford to ignore our declining kindergarten readiness in the city of Mesa, or there'll be some really serious long-term and short-term impacts. So in response to learning about this problem, we have pulled together in true Mesa fashion to do something to help solve it. I'd like to share with you a quick video that gets to the heart of what we as a community plan to do to address this.
Kindergarten today is the first grade of yesterday. So what you learn in kindergarten is what you learn in preschool now. So knowing that, children are coming in really, really behind.
80–90% of your synaptic connections are done in the first 3 to 4 years of life. That early stimulation, early learning prepares kids for school, but also the challenges in life.
And if you look at the studies, children who start behind will always stay behind throughout their entire careers, which will also impact their work ability and their wages. Mesa K Ready was started because we have approximately a little over 31,000 children in Mesa under the age of 5. Of those children, only 36% of them attend some type of preschool setting. What we like to do is provide a tablet-type app which will be filled with skills ready for kindergarten. And with that, we were going to have teachers from Mesa Public Schools calling parents every week, providing them the mentorship they need and the guidance they need to be successful with the tablet. We're also going to provide emotional, social part of the program. Families can take the kids to Mesa Parks and Recs and the museums and Mesa Center of Arts, and that will provide the social, emotional background and skills they need in a classroom type setting.
The benefits are long-standing. When you look at how they're doing when they're 20, 30 years old, children who've gone through preschool actually are doing better than children who do not.
We are starting with 50 families, and it will be a totally free program. Next fall, we hope to target 250 families, and then within 4 years, we hope to target 800 to 1,000 families.
If you have a community that has a strong education program, that has strong public schools, what it does is it gives you a really great base of talent, resources locally. Go on to finish high school or college or come straight to work for an employer.
So if we can impact them before they get to kindergarten and get them on the right path from the very beginning, and that will better prepare them for the workforce, and that will help our cities too, because the city will get a very well-educated, skilled workforce. It's a collaborative approach. It's a holistic approach. So we need everybody on board to make this program a success. The more people who back our program, the better it's going to be.
I'm really happy to announce that, that we have now progressed from the talking phase to the doing something about it phase. And a few weeks ago, we kicked off this program with 50 excited families. Thank you very much to T-Mobile for providing the tablets. We have a great online program called Mrs. Humblebees. It's an accredited software program that helps to teach kids what they need to know to prepare for kindergarten. It's actually available to anyone in the community that has a City of Mesa library card. And it allows us to track the kids in the program and see how they're doing in their progression towards kindergarten readiness. But as we debated how to handle this program, we also realized that kids need much more than a tablet and more screen time to get ready for kindergarten. So what I really like about this program is that it's high tech and high touch. It gives kids access to our parks and our museums and our art center and our libraries in ways that will allow them to develop the social and emotional tools that they need to be successful and ready for kindergarten. The other thing, the secret sauce to this program too, is the addition of mentors. Each one of these families is going to be assigned a school teacher that is going to have weekly contact with them to find out what challenges they're experiencing and are these kids on track to be well prepared to enroll in kindergarten. So far, this pilot program is going very well, and I'm excited that soon we'll be able to analyze the data and the early results of this program. As was indicated, we will be expanding the program in the upcoming school year to 250 families, and then shortly thereafter, our goal is to ramp it up to 1,000 families in our city. Of course, we'll be including Gilbert Public Schools and Queen Creek Schools on board so that all of Mesa's 4-year-olds have a chance to succeed and to prepare for school. I'd like to introduce you to a couple of people that are critical to the success of this program. Liz Malavy, who you were introduced to on the screen, is the Mesa K-Ready Coordinator. She's a Mesa Public Schools employee, a former school principal, and very uniquely qualified to be the head of this program. And also Charlie Gregory. Charlie, you may recognize, a year ago was running Benedictine University in our city. He's now accepted a position with the Mesa K-Ready Foundation as a special advisor to help us to cultivate the resources that we need so that this program can be sustainable over the long term. Charlie and Liz, would you mind standing just so people can know who you are? And thank you. There they are. Thank you very much. Now, the reason I asked them to stand is because if there are people in the crowd today that your hearts were touched by this program, or this is something that you find particularly compelling, I would invite you, before you leave today, to corner one or both of those folks and to see what you can do to help us with this program. Also, there's some printed material on your table that will help you learn more about the Mesa K-Ready program. I'm excited to see the impact that this program is going to have, and I couldn't be more proud of the way our community has once again been willing to rise to the challenge to help our next generation. Well, we're now at the end of the program, and I just want to say again that I love this community. I love the rich history that Mesa has of being innovative and of dreaming big and of taking on big challenges, and this year has certainly been no exception to that history. In summary, what we've been able to do is add to our great inventory of amazing and one-of-a-kind city parks. Also by leveraging the investment that we've made in our airports, we've been able to expand the reach of Mesa's economy internationally. We're also fostering an innovative urban core that's built upon the genuine character and existing assets of our downtown. And finally, we're laying the foundation for the future by helping Mesa's children get ready for school and beyond. It's been a really exciting time for Mesa, and I personally can't thank you enough for the privilege that you've given me to be able to serve. I'm convinced that when we invest in ourselves with parks and playgrounds and paths and infrastructure that supports our K-12 system, but also our pre-K and after high school education opportunities, people will always want to live in Mesa, Arizona, and they will beat a path to our door. I hope that something that you heard this morning has inspired you to want to be more engaged in our community, and that you'll help us write the next chapter in the story of our next Mesa. Thank you again for being here, and let's have a fantastic 2018. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us for the Mayor's State of the City Breakfast, presented by the Mesa Chamber of Commerce.